I know it was earlier this year.
Here I'm looking like a tourist.
Oh my gosh.
He's got his shirt on.
He looks like you would dress almost.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
It was pretty neat.
You should have invited him up here sometime.
I know. All right, I gotta get going here now. We're trying to get back into the swing of things, George, and it just ain't working.
It's just not easy, is
It's
it?
hard.
Sometimes it's,
Did you guys hear thunderstorms early this week?
Oh, I did. Yes, I did.
yeah, well, kind of woke me up a little bit. How much rain did we get?
I got an inch at my house, but I'm right on the edge of a woods, and sometimes I don't get what the full amount is.
Oh,
But that's
yeah.
what I had at my house, in my range.
Yeah, I don't think we got that many. in Winona.
We needed it.
I know, boy, it really did.
Scott's even here in person.
All right, look at this.
Scott's here for the pledge.
Stay at your
All right, good morning. We'll call the Board of Works to order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Good to see everyone this morning. Good to be back. Let's start in with the approval of the minutes from the June 4th meeting, which are presented here for your perusal. And of course, let the minutes reflect Board of Works member Gross is absent. Thank you. All right, George, did you see anything from the last meeting?
I did not, I saw it, it all looked good to me. That's what
All
I'm
right.
trying to say. And I will make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Good, I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, thank you. Again, welcome to all our visitors. I see one there, two. Good morning. Appreciate your time this morning with us. We'll hopefully take care of business here shortly. Lynn, any oral written communication reports?
No, I don't have any.
All right. Under unfinished business, there is one item I'd ask the police chief to approach and make a request.
Yes, I'd like to request from the board that stemming from the May 7th Board of Works, where we opened up sealed quotes for 3 police commissions, just based upon the timely delivery, I guess a request to, what was the term? To reject all quotes. And I'd like to proceed later in today's Board of Works with the seeking quotes for vehicles that will be available to us, that we know will be available to us.
So the reason for this is that there was quite a bit of uncertainty as to if and when they would be delivered.
Correct. And that is still the case. So.
Okay. George, does that make sense? Any questions?
No.
Scott, that was for, was it 4 police vehicles?
For 3,
For 3. Okay,
correct.
all right.
Do you need a we need
Yes,
a
sir.
Motion to,
To reject the bids.
I'll make a motion that we reject the bids for the police cars.
Okay, and I would second that. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, let's move into new business. There is a 3-on-3 basketball tournament that's going to be happening soon. This is a benefit tournament, and I'll have Paula come up and introduce what's happening, and the date of that is August 7th would be the event, so.
Right. I met with Kareem a couple weeks ago, and we went over his application and what he was going to do, what his needs were, and things like that. He just feels led to have host this 3-on-3 tourney for the 2 boys who died in car accidents, who were both sports people. And so he is going to be working with Tracy and possibly with Grace.
Tracy.
Tracy from the BYC.
Okay,
and the BYC, and Grace possibly, to get the nets. And he's going to run a 3-on-3. He talked to Jeff Gross about having him help with the officiants. All money goes to the families of the boys to help with funeral expenses and things like that. So he seems like a really great kid, and really
so
has a
who's
heart for
the
this.
gentleman that's requesting this?
His name is Kareem Johnson, I think.
Okay,
Is that what it says?
Freeman, maybe. Freeman Conklin.
Does it say Johnson?
Corinne Freeman? Yeah, there it is. I couldn't read.
I know.
And he's having this for Brendan and Easton?
Yes.
Okay. And,
He would like to shut off the standard T for the First Friday Tea, the crossroads here at the corner. We know that the farmer's market will be on West Center, so we're not going to mess with that. But the spectators will also give the farmer's market more traffic. And then we would like to take Buffalo Street extended down to Blam and have another 2 courts there.
have you let the farmer's market know what's going on?
Not yet, not till,
Okay, I would make that a requirement of this application,
Sure.
that be done.
right.
And then that-
We're not asking them to move.
No, I understand that,
anything,
but they need to
but
know
just-
what's
we'll just let
going
them
on.
know. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
Obviously, emergency responders too, fire
Right.
department, police department, which you usually ask about, Bill.
right.
and this is going to go roughly till 4 o'clock?
So it'll be a little more challenging for the farmer's market customers because they'll have to walk a little further. But other than that, I think it'll be good for business for everybody downtown, as well as helping out the boys' families.
So they won't take over the farmer's market area after farmer's market leaves. They're just going to essentially use Buffalo Street from Market up to Main, and then Center Street from Indiana to Buffalo. So they're
Correct.
going to kind of work in a T,
Yes.
a sideways T, if you will. Okay.
And we'll probably put check-in on the county plaza because farmer's market doesn't use that.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. We'll need to talk about that.
Okay.
All right. But other than that, I mean, as far as the street closure itself, that's what we're here to discuss anyway today. And just want to make sure that we know the date, which we have, the times. Again, the main thing is letting farmers market know that will be going on. And I don't see it as a problem. But they need to be notified for sure.
And it's the morning after First Friday, so barricades will already be there, and we'll just, place them.
So they will start setting up at, what time? 7 a.m. it looks like.
Yeah.
Are they going to bring the basketball goals in that morning?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, it's certainly a worthy cause, and appreciate this gentleman stepping forward to organize this.
And he
And
didn't know the boys, either one.
he didn't know the
No,
boys,
he just felt,
compelled to do it.
yeah,
Yeah,
tugged at his heart.
okay,
That's nice.
all right. And you'll be assisting him
Oh, yeah.
with, okay. All right, we'll talk about the details later.
Okay.
All right. George, any comments or questions?
No, I'll move to approve in light of the follow-ups with the farmer's market, stuff like that.
And then the usual notification of
Emergency
dispatch and
services.
emergency, yeah.
Mhm.
All right. All right, I'll second that. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Paula, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Scott, if you want to return to the podium and talk about fuel pricing. I know this is something we've been doing for 5, 6 years.
Yes.
And it certainly is benefiting our budgeting process, knowing what our fuel price is going to be locked in for the following year. So this would be for 2022 fuel pricing, correct?
Correct. We're a little late in the game this year as to years past, but yeah, it's worked out well. And actually, for the year over year, the cost per gallon, we've done really well as far as the city, as far as lesser than the at the pump price given that year, but it doesn't always work that way. But this is for 2022. It's for 78,000 gallons. It's for the entire city of Warsaw fuel purchasing of gasoline, and it requires solicitation for bids. We plan to do that on Monday, July 5th, and again on July 12th. And then the bids be received by the Clerk Treasurer's Office before July 19th. And at the July 19th Board of Works, those that wish to place a bid. This is, I guess, the rate for the fuel will be determined on that morning.
Yes.
So that's the volatility of this. So we really won't have any idea, and that's why we'll solicit. I'm sure those bids, or the only bid, will come in on July 19th.
Right. And that's consistent with the way we've done it in the past, knowing that we have to react to that bid that day.
Correct.
So, okay. Questions?
No, I'll move we approve the request to pursue quotes.
All right, and I would certainly second that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, thank you, Scott.
Thanks.
And I would want to talk to you after the meeting about a couple details on that. We don't need to go into that now, but remind me.
fuel?
Yeah, on the fuel.
Okay.
Okay. All right, item 3 is request permission to pursue sealed quotes for 2 Ford hybrid vehicles. Now, this is different than what we had solicited for in May, correct?
Correct. These vehicles are vehicles that we know are available, so therefore, since they are available, we're going to solicit quotes for those.
But were the others, they weren't hybrid?
They were not hybrids, correct?
Okay.
Yes, these are completely different vehicles. These are typically more expensive, but obviously over the long term of the vehicle, you're supposed to get that return on the savings in fuel. But yeah, this is 2 completely different models, I guess, because one's a hybrid compared to what we had requested before. We do have some hybrids in our fleet, and they've worked out well. So, and again, if the quotes will be received by July 19th, and at that Board of Works, we would open those quotes and then take it under advisement during the meeting and have a decision perhaps during that 19th Board of Works.
All right.
That was my question. So you like the hybrid vehicles we have in the fleet?
Yes, yeah, we've not had any issues.
All right.
I'll move we approve permission to pursue the quotes on the 2 hybrid vehicles.
All right, I would second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Item 4, Jennifer, HR, this is an agreement.
Yes, this is an agreement
For
with
wage analysis?
Wagner, Irwin, and Schuley. We call them WIS, to do a wage analysis for us. This is going to come completely out of my budget. And just asking permission to enter into that agreement.
And this
They're gonna do
goes with what we've been seeing nationally, I would say, with wages changing and availability and unemployment and competitiveness and all the above are having quite an impact on salaries.
You are correct. We do have several positions that have changed in the makeup of their primary functions. They're going to actually throw them on the scale for us, redo and see where the fair market analysis is going to be as well. We've used Wagner before in the past several times. I'm very comfortable with using them again. They're primary government people, do a lot of work for the counties and other cities and towns.
Questions?
No, I'll move to approve the agreement.
Thank you.
All right, I would certainly second that. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Right. Jennifer, thank you for doing that. That's,
That's
I know
okay.
how important that is, and
Yes.
they, like you said, they are the pretty much go-to group on that, and
They
and
are.
have done a good job for us in the past.
We actually had that budgeted for 2022, but we had some funds available this year, so needed to
Good.
get that moving. Thank you.
All right, next item is renewal with Creative Benefit Solutions.
Yes, so they currently work with us right now for our life insurance, long-term disability, short-term disability, working with our TPA to help pay the bills. This will be a renewal. They have guaranteed the rates. It's not going to increase again for 2 years. They came in very low, about $4,500 lower than other people. That was
And
back
they're
in
local,
2019
which is
as well. I'm sorry?
And they're local, which is
They are
nice.
very, yes, they are local. They're a block away, so, yep.
Good.
So you've looked into other options, and this is your
Yes.
recommendation,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Questions?
I'll move we approve that contract with Benefit Solutions.
All right, I will
you.
second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, item 6 is a renewal with Colonial Life.
Actually, this is going to be a new one. So we currently, we have.
So it's not a renewal?
No, no.
Okay.
So we currently use American Fidelity for our employee elective policies, and they also manage our Section 125. Colonial Life, I would like to enter into an agreement. They actually are in with the Creative Benefit Group, Brandy Horn. She is a block away. She's local, just for customer service primarily. I'm asking the board to enter into an agreement with Brandy and Colonial Life.
And again, that's, I know you've spent a lot of time on this, and that's your recommendation after,
It is. I did contact other vendors. One did come in late, actually just notified me Friday that they had some information, but I'm very comfortable moving with this one. She's-
all right?
I'll move to approve the Colonial Life Employee Elected Benefits.
Thank you.
All right, I will second that. Any further discussions? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, and then you've got the wage and hire report.
Correct. So Cade currently is a employee at the wastewater. He is going to be replacing an electrician's spot. Michelle is a replacement as well. She's a new hire, and we have a couple from the police department that they're the DARE officers, the SRO, so they're coming back on shift. We're paying them shift differential. The reason why that they're listed double is because we did a mid-year increase for police department, and so we're showing one payroll at current rate, and then the next payroll would be at the newer rate.
Okay. And that's both Officer Navarro and Officer Fuller?
Correct.
Okay. All right, questions?
Now, I'll move we approve the HR wage hire report.
I would second that. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Jennifer. All right. So Stacy will represent the IT committee. I know they've been working very hard. They've got a couple items here on the agenda. If you all remember, this was part of the process that we've been going through when we did our study with as far as our operations and efficiencies, and Baker Tilly had the recommendation that we establish this IT governance committee, and they've worked very hard this year to come up with a process for IT governance within the city. And as such, there are a couple items here that, first one, not so much, but the second one, we'll talk a little bit more about how this is going to work. So you want to start with the encryption agreement?
Sure. So this is an agreement for an 18-month agreement for email encryption We currently have email encryption for about 57 users in the city with a different provider. That provider is no longer a Google partner, and we have Google email services, and it's really important, especially with the nature of the information that's being handled with email encryption, that we work with a Google partner. So moving forward, we would like to do this agreement with Virtru. They are a Google partner, and they actually have a much easier to use platform for their encryption, which I would really like to see for employees because our current platform is kind of confusing and difficult to use at times. We need to have this for secure files, for HIPAA compliance, for CJIS compliance, for payment information. So we have a number of users across the city. So we're proposing to bring them on for the first 6 months or the last 6 months of this year at about the same price that we're currently paying Zix, which is our existing provider right now. And then after the first of the year, bring the entire city on. This provides good protection for us. A lot of times employees will send emails that they do not realize has protected information in it. And we can set this system up to automatically capture those emails and encrypt them as they go out if they don't intentionally encrypt them themselves. So it definitely provides a lot of liability coverage for the city. And we can do training in addition to that to help employees understand when they need to encrypt emails. But this will help to automatically capture them, removing that liability for the city. For next year, they are giving us about a 50% discount this year and next year. They're giving us about a 50% discount on their retail price that they normally would charge customers. Understanding that we are trying to move to a Google partner from the old provider unexpectedly. And then this year, you'll see that they come from all the different departments. That's because that's how we traditionally have paid for those things. Next year, it will all be centralized out of the council budget, so that is why that's broken out differently on the worksheet.
Yeah, and I appreciate you mentioning that. The appropriation side this year will continue this year as we've traditionally done, but one of the recommendations of the committee was to centralize these payments and probably make it a little easier on the clerk treasurer's office. So that's why you see that difference between 2021 and 2022. Stacy is representing 4 members of the IT Governance Committee, including herself, Angie from Police Department, Nick, and Mary Haberman, who's not here today. Again, that is our IT Governance Committee. They are making these recommendations, and as we will see as things unfold, they are going to be a very solid part of the IT solution that we have worked so hard to try and centralize and sustain. City's made a lot of investment in our hardware, and now we need to utilize that hardware to maximize performance and obviously safety, encryption, reliability, the whole thing. You know, we need ongoing maintenance, and that's something that we will actually talk about in item number 9 as well. But this just gives you a little bit of a introduction to how this is going to be working. So with that, George, any questions on the email encryption side of this?
Well, just, I assume the city attorney has looked over both the agreements in 8 and 9, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Not really, very important, this, that we follow up on this. Kudos to you and your committee. So
All right.
I'll make a motion to accept that
All right.
agreement.
Thank you, and I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right.
Thank you.
So this second part of this is actually going to be a contract with Bit Computers. Brady Burgess at Bit Computers has worked well with the city in the past, and I'm going to let the committee talk about what we're doing as far as employing him for what we're employing him for, and then kind of what your role will be, just in a general sense, so that we can put all these pieces together. So.
Well, thank you for having us this morning. Our IT committee has worked very, very hard for the last 8 to 9 months to put together several recommendations for the city. A big part of that is bringing BIT on in a more steady fashion. It used to be break fix. Something would happen, the city needed something, whether it was a new computer, a internet service went down, we would call BIT and they would come and fix it. That just is not what we need moving forward. We really need to have some stability in that front so that we can really put together a 5-year and 10-year plan for the city and then start implementing some of these changes proactively rather than retroactively. This agreement will just allow us to formulate that, or to put that on paper. Brady's worked for the city for coming up on 20 years in a on-off capacity. Again, we all, he knows the different departments inside and out. He knows what our needs are. He's actually the person that one of my customers calls if they have an issue with IT. He's the only person in the state that can fix that problem. So very, very much recommend that we move forward with this, and it would just, like I said, cement that agreement in place.
So Brady has the know-how, and this IT governance committee is going to set the direction for the city. They know, they are working in their departments with our software, know what our needs are, know what the capabilities of our system are, and the purpose of the IT governance committee is to set the direction for the city, and then those needs and requirements that they need to implement will be handled by Brady as far as the hardware and software implementation network, the whole thing.
Correct.
So
We represent 4 different departments, and then we actually went out and interviewed each department individually to see what their specific needs were, where they saw IT going in the future, and how things are evolving, specifically after COVID. How are things changing, and how do we need to be on the forefront rather than trying to catch up?
And again, when Baker Tilly did the review, this was one of the top priorities to get a handle on the direction of IT in the city. And having the boots to the ground folks from 4 different departments, we're creating this sustainable committee that their role will be in the governance side of this, and they'll be guided as far as expertise in our systems by Brady. Brady, just talk a little bit about what he will do from, I know you all are setting up kind of a help desk, and there's some minor things you all have done in the past that you will continue to do, but then kind of just talk quickly about his scope of services.
So as you alluded, Mayor, the IT committee is going to continue to formulate the plan and to work closely with the mayor's office and the city departments to put together what needs to happen, what the next steps are for the city. Brady is going to implement those and be the technical boots on the ground, actually deploying the software and the hardware where it's needed, as it's needed. That could be anything from a break fix, something goes down, Brady gets an alert and fixes it immediately. We don't have to call him, we don't have to get a quote, it's just going to be covered under the contract. It will also, a big part of this is going to be ownership. What does the city already own? What is our inventory? Where is our inventory? And then pre-planning, okay, this computer in this office is 9 years old. Are there things that we can do to extend the life of this computer a couple more years, or do we need to look at replacing it? So it's going to be very, very wide in what he does across the city. And some of that stuff will be department specific. Others, between networking from the departments down here to City Hall, that'll be citywide.
And hopefully, by centralizing this and having the governance committee directing this, will improve efficiencies as far as his use of time. Will be, as you suggested, will be pre-planning and proactively improving the systems, and not just reacting to crashes and breaks and new equipment and software that each department seems to independently feel they need. That's all coming central and will require approval from the IT governance committee. And that, I think that's one of the biggest issues, is just getting everybody on the same page with what our capabilities are. And that's why we're going to centralize all these appropriations next year. But we didn't want to wait till next year. We wanted to get started now. So
the next 6 months will specifically be in-house keeping. What do we have? Building that inventory so that we can put a better roadmap together moving forward.
And I'm certainly proud of the work they've done. They've spent the time in the departments, ears to the tracks, digging into the weeds, and have come up with I think a workable, sustainable plan. And this is probably one of the big parts of it is employment of Brady, his contract. So, questions?
No, I think it's a wise path. I'll move that we approve the agreement for information technology with BIT Computers.
Okay, and I will second that. I will add that,
Later, the pharmacy's coming in town and asks them, what happened to the dead board?
that funding had been identified for 2021 within the mayor's budget. We had actually created a position for an IT person. So the funding is available this year. It's just we'll probably have to move it around to execute this contract. But we had planned to make changes this year with funding, and that will allow us to do that as well. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Long time coming.
Yes. All right. Justin, planning, you've got Plaza Pay App number 13.
Correct. So this pay app, as we near the end of this project, is in the amount of $85,985. And as a reminder, this project, the contract price was $2.2 million. We received a Regional Cities grant for $1.6 million that was directed towards this project. So again, this project is now winding down. There's a few loose ends that we're wrapping up, but for the most part, the project's in place. So really excited to have this amenity on Center Lake now. So.
Yeah. All right. Any questions, George?
No, I'll move we approve the pay app.
Okay, I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. And then there's an addendum to the KEDCO service contract.
Yeah, so we've got an addendum to the KEDCO service contract in the amount of $50,000, and this is again for that economic development engine that KEDCO is in our community, just helping drive business and development to help our community prosper. So.
These funds were identified from EDIT specifically for this purpose, and I know Jeremy, as Community Development and Economic Development Director, is working with KEDCO on this, and this will be, again, the ability to incentivize companies that come into our community that are investing in our community and adding jobs. So, Justin, thank you for presenting this. Any questions?
No, I'll move we approve.
Right. I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, item 12. Jeremy, or Justin, I'll let you dive into this one. This regards the warranty deeds for the Lincoln Elementary Sidewalk Project.
Correct. So before you have 10 of the 18 warranty deeds that we'll need for this sidewalk project, the total amount for this first batch of 10 is $32,715. And as a reminder, this is some of the properties that we needed to acquire. When you get into some of these older neighborhoods, the property lines are often jog around. So this kind of cleans up that right of way and allows us to implement those sidewalks. This total project is a $1.6 million sidewalk project. We received that $1.3 million funding grant from NDOT that covers about 80% of all the project expenses. So these are those warranty deeds that are for the property owners where we did need to clean up those right of ways. So there will be reimbursed for their property.
So again, this is just another step in the process. This is now the right-of-way acquisition. So we can get ready to, it's going to construction next year, is that correct?
That's the plan, yep.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I'll move we approve the warranty deeds for Lincoln Sidewalk Project.
All right. I will second that. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Nice to get
All right.
cleaned up.
Thanks, Justin, for all your work on that. Brian, got a change order for the Center Lake storm sewer lining?
Yes, this was for the 36-inch that we had line that kind of goes around that end of Center Lake. The change order was for, and that was one thing that James caught this morning, was it was not exactly clear what it was for, but The original bid went out from the manhole that sits a little bit south of the pump station, roughly 48 feet, to the park. Well, we wanted that last 48 feet line so that everything in that system is lined. So we added that on, and that's the difference. It was $94 a lineal foot, and it was roughly 48 feet added. So that's where you get the $4,512 addition.
So that work will be performed while they're doing the rest of the
That work
project?
has been performed, actually.
Okay.
They came in earlier this.
But it was all done in one setting?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so the change order is $4,512 to do
I'll
that.
move to approve that.
All right, thanks, George. I will second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, item 14 is a stormwater project in the Country Club Lane neighborhood. You want to go ahead and talk about that?
So if you're familiar with the area, this is the dead end that kind of goes off of Country Club Lane right on the curve there on Winona Lake. And it's a low spot right there. Well, we've always had a little trouble with water standing there because when the lake comes up, that rim elevation of the catch basin was just right at lake elevation almost. Well, they improved the dam on Winona Lake, the outfall to the lake, and they set it at legal lake elevation, which actually has brought the water up just, what was it, James, 3 inches? And now there is water standing in that intersection all the time. And when we get these big rains, it's even worse, to the point that it could get to where people would have trouble accessing their property that live down that lane. We've done a little work in this area over the years. We had a contract with G&G to do some storm line work, but once we kind of got into it, it's like it's not worth spending the money. There's a bigger project involved here. Once they did the dam improvements, it brought that water level up, and so now we want to work with VS Engineering to come up with 2 or 3 options of what we can do in that area to get the water out of the roadway.
Okay. So,
James has reviewed this contract, thought it was a fair pricing for the work that's going to be involved with it.
so just for clarity, the Department of Natural Resources rebuilt the dam, I believe it was 2 years ago, and that's what's changed the level of the lake. That's aggravating a condition that's been there for a long time.
Right.
Okay.
It used to, if it had gates you could raise and lower, so they could do the summer and winter lake levels.
Yep.
And I think they would open the gates to the point where the water level was at legal lake level. Well, they set the overflow weir at the legal lake level, which, you get a little bit of water so it raised that lake 2 or 3 inches, and that was just enough to cause a problem in this intersection.
Okay.
I know the people, I live out near there, not in that particular spot, but people be very appreciative of.
Oh, yeah.
And this, I know, is a first step.
I know James
but-
has fielded many phone calls from people out there.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your working on that and going to the
Yeah.
source of the concern and trying to get some solutions, or at least options.
And
for
we're
that.
hoping if we can move quick enough, maybe we can get a late fall project in to fix it, but if not, we're ready to go as soon as we
Okay.
can the following year.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
James, anything to add? Again, I appreciate both of your work on this. This is stormwater concern that is just showing its head.
Yeah, Brian mentioned, he used the phrase that we were looking at ways of lowering the water. It's actually, we're looking for ways to raise the road. It's the
Yeah.
other way around. When the work was done on the outfall of the dam, it's an average lake level. I mean, when they establish a legal level, it's an average level. And we really believe, Brian explained it well, the crest elevation of that overflow weir is at that average lake level. In other words, if we had a dry spell, the water would go down to at least that point. And we believe what's been going on is whoever had monitored those gates, I think they took out 3 or 4 of the gates and put this weir in. which is a passive system for letting water get over the dam. Whoever was operating the gates before, I think exactly what he said has happened. They opened those gates such that more days out of the summer than not, the water level was at that average lake level. But right now, because that weir is higher, there's typically 2 or 3 inches of water running over that weir all of the time in these, because we haven't had a lot of rain till just the weekend. And what we think is that rim elevation of the lowest structure out there is pretty close to being right at that average lake level. So raising it 2 to 3 inches puts 2 to 3 inches of water in this intersection. And so moving forward, we're pretty comfortable that if we don't get the road raised, there will always be standing water in this intersection. And then on those days when we do get rain events and the lake comes up 4 or 5 or 6 inches, that's 4 or 5 or 6 inches that's sitting in this roadway. So we're anticipating that we're going to raise a section of this road, may have to include some of the drive approaches because of raising the road. We have a sanitary manhole that's in that intersection that we're trying to get the road high enough that we don't have to worry about surface water getting into the sanitary system as well. Fairly major project for such a little area, but if we don't do it, there will be too many days out of the year when that lake, if the lake is up 4 inches, it's going to be difficult to get emergency vehicles and people to get to their properties.
All right, thank you.
Nothing went wrong here. DNR didn't do anything wrong. I mean, they set the dam to be a passive system. It's just the outcome of that yields that the lake is 2 or 3 inches higher than it historically is on an average, and that 2 or 3 inches is critical to us.
Great. All right, thank you. I very much appreciate your work and expertise on that. George, any final questions?
I don't think so. I think I'll make a motion to approve the contract.
All right, I would second that. Any further final questions or discussions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right. Brian, you've got a few more items here. Number 15 is NIPSCO cross-bore authorization.
Yes, so NIPSCO over the years has done a lot of directional drilling, putting in gas lines. This kind of become the new normal way to do a lot of this type of work. And we have had a few incidences where they have drilled through our sanitary sewer or storm sewer in the process. Well, when we get a blockage, which that will ultimately cause, we send some pretty aggressive cleaning equipment down through there to open it back up, and we can go right through this gas line and open it up. So what NIPSCO is going to do or would like to do within the city is anywhere they have put a directional drill line in is to video our sewer to confirm that they did not hit the sanitary sewer in the process. This is just an agreement with them that gives them permission to do that within our sewer system. I did have the city attorney, Scott Roos, look at it, and he thought it was a good thing as well and thought it was a good agreement.
Do they have their own equipment, or do they
Yes.
use? Okay, so they've got their own
I assume they're going to hire a contractor
to do the camera,
Right,
the
this is-
video. Okay, and is that done post-work, obviously?
Yes. I think
Pre
they
and
now
post.
have
Yeah.
operating procedure where they do a pre-video, and then after the line's put in, they come back in and do
Got
a
it.
post-video. But when these lines went in, they did not do that.
Okay. I'm just kind of curious, do other communities have agreements like this? Or it seems like this is something that should have been on all along.
Well, yeah, and when directional drilling is done, if you read the state statute, maybe it is, they're supposed to hand dig and locate the existing utilities and make sure that they don't have this. But the fiber, we've had many incidences of fiber or gas cross-bore through our lines, and
Do we have similar agreement with the fiber folks?
no.
I mean, this is a big deal.
Oh, it is.
It is a big deal, and it's a policy change inside of NIPSCO, as I understand
see.
it. They had so many of these instances because NIPSCO uses a third party to drill most of this in, and communities were coming back to them saying, you've damaged our line, and in some cases, we don't know it for some period of time
Till
afterwards.
it clogs up.
That, in fact, they got into one of our force mains out on Husky Trail a couple of years ago and walked away for the weekend, and we had to deal with that on a Saturday. But it was right after that time frame I saw some literature come through from NIPSCO that indicate they were having an internal policy change where from going forward, they were going to do a pre-inspection of lines and a post-inspection so they would know right away if they got into trouble. So you're right, this is new, and I'm assuming they're carrying this to all of their communities.
Great, thank
they
you.
work in.
George, questions?
No, I'll move, we approve the,
MOU with NIPSCO.
yes. Sounds like that.
All right, I would second that. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So I guess I should have asked this before I voted, but the indemnification agreement, does that mean if they video it and it's not there, and they video it and they have done it, that they are indemnified against that? Or, I mean,
The guy sitting next to you probably should answer that one. I don't know.
So the indemnification agreement says that NIPSCO shall hold the city harmless.
harmless, okay.
Okay.
I liked what Brian sent over to me for a couple reasons. I think it'd be awful if they sent stuff to clear the sewer lines and they tore through a gas line. That could be huge problems, like
Right.
deadly problems, right? And then there, in paragraph 6, there's the agreement to timely repair any damage that was caused and giving the city the opportunity to immediately repair it, and they would invoice NIPSCO and NIPSCO would pay it. Or the city could hire who the city chose to repair it and NIPSCO would pay it. So I think it's a real win for the city and appreciate NIPSCO. And obviously they have skin in the game too. They don't want to accidentally get into our sewer lines and have their gas lines cut by us going back in through there. So I don't see a downside whatsoever. The more they look inside those pipes, probably the more they can possibly find other damage as
Yeah.
well. Brian will have access to that information whenever they're willing to share all that with him.
I know just one of 19 Board of Works items today, and this one is significant. It really, the more you think about it, the more it stands out. And, you know, we've been involved in a gas break and know the potential danger, deadly danger that can cause, so.
Well, yeah, and when we think it's a root or something, we send a saw in and you go blind, you can't see. You just send it down till you hit it and saw through
Got
whatever's
it.
there. So if it's a gas line and they're plastic, we have no trouble cutting through.
So this helps everybody. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate your explanation, James and Brian, on that. All right. Let's move to item 16. This would be a SRF application for pay for the plant expansion.
Yes, this is for work performed at the plant. It's been reviewed by our engineer representatives and our department. We're recommending payment. I said that I think it was the last Board of Works, they're hoping 2 weeks. Well, we're still hoping. But all the asphalt's down. We're pretty much down to just a few little things and then grass seeding. So we are getting really close now, but
Well, other than the retainage, looks like there's only about a couple $100,000 left
Yeah,
in the appropriation, so we are getting close. Long time coming, and again, that's been obviously a critical project, a very major project for the city, and the results will speak for themselves, that's for sure. George, any questions?
No, I think I'll move we approve the pay application.
All right, I would certainly second that wholeheartedly. Further questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And then on to item 17, the ever-present grant service, $1,170 requirement, SRF requirement.
yes, this is for the pay certification, their payroll certification that she reviews, and and gives us the documentation we need for when we're audited through SRF.
All right.
I'll move to approve that necessary expense.
I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Lynn?
I have a question. There was one more thing that was loaded onto the drive, but I did not see it on the agenda. It was an easement. Do you guys have that on your board pack?
No.
I didn't see anything.
Huh, I have it loaded. I pulled it up off of there, but
Is it a timely concern?
James, do we need to get the, okay, we can deal, it was on my list, but I didn't see it on the agenda, so.
Okay, that might have been inadvertently missed when the agenda was put together, so we'll certainly make sure that, talk to Whitney, make sure that gets put on the next one.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lynn, any special claims?
No special claims.
All right. Then the presentation of the claims docket, just one docket.
I got all my questions answered, except I was curious, Justin, maybe you know, the appraisal for $1,800 for 110 South Washington. Do you remember what property that is? I do not. Okay. You know what? I'll just check. I'll check, and it's already on the docket, so obviously it was done. So I'll call you on that, or have somebody look into that. I'm just curious why that was appraised. Other than that, I didn't see anything. Did you, Joe?
Nope.
Okay. So I'll move we approve the claims docket as presented.
All right, thank you, and I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, any other items to be carried forward today? Again, I appreciate your patience in moving the Board of Works from Friday to Monday. I was gone last week, and I appreciated your willingness to make that change, and it looks like we're ready to gavel this one done. So, any other comments or questions? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Scott?